Hello everyone, it's me again, Joseph, your host, and welcome back to our channel, where we hear fascinating stories about our saints. Today we're going to share a super inspiring story about a saint you might not have heard of, but whose story is incredibly powerful. His name is Saint Germanicus, and he was a very brave young man who loved Jesus with all his heart. His feast day is on January 19th, and his story is all about courage and staying true to what you believe in. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Saint Germanicus lived a very, very long time ago, around the year 155. That's almost 2,000 years ago. Back then, it was a really difficult and dangerous time to be a Christian. The people in charge, the Romans, didn't understand Christianity. They wanted everyone to worship their own gods, and they saw Christians as a threat. Because of this, many Christians were arrested and treated very badly just for loving Jesus. We don't know a lot about Germanicus's childhood. We don't know who his parents were or exactly where he was born, but we do know he was very young when he became a martyr. He was probably a teenager, maybe a little older than some of you watching right now. Since his faith was so strong, we can guess he grew up in a Christian family. His parents must have taught him all about Jesus and the amazing stories from the Bible. They must have taught him to be brave and to love God more than anything else. Imagine growing up knowing that just talking about your faith could get you into big trouble. It took a lot of courage just to go to church or pray with other Christians. But Germanicus wasn't afraid. He knew the risks, but he chose to follow Jesus anyway. His heart was so full of love for God that he was ready to face anything. So what happened to this brave young man? Well, just as he feared, Germanicus was arrested simply for being a Christian. The Roman rulers who arrested him tried to make him change his mind. They said, "Germanicus, you're so young. You have your whole life ahead of you. Just say you don't believe in Jesus, and we'll let you go free." They tried to convince him to save his own life. But Germanicus stood firm. He wasn't scared. He knew that his love for Jesus was more important than anything else in the world. He refused to deny his faith. He didn't argue or fight back. He just calmly and bravely said no. Trusted that God was with him and would give him strength. Because he wouldn't give up his faith, the rulers sent him to a huge arena. In those days, they had these big public shows where they would make Christians face wild animals. It was a very scary and cruel thing to do, and it was meant to frighten other Christians into giving up their faith.
Ow.
When Germanicus was brought into the arena, he didn't run or scream. The crowd watched as he faced the wild animals with incredible peace. He just prayed and trusted in God. The people in the crowd were amazed by how calm and brave he was. They had never seen anything like it. His death showed everyone that faith is so much stronger than fear. He chose to honor God, even though it meant giving up his life. His incredible courage didn't go unnoticed. His bravery gave strength and hope to many other Christians who were also suffering and facing death. In fact, his story is so important that it was written down in a famous early Christian text called the Martyrdom of Polycarp. Saint Polycarp was another amazing saint who lived at the same time, and Germanicus' story is part of his. It shows us just how common it was for Christians to face these terrible dangers. Saint Germanicus reminds us of all the other Christians from that time whose names we don't even know. So many people, young and old, were willing to die rather than turn away from Jesus. Their incredible strength and sacrifice are what kept the church alive during those very difficult early years. They were like little lights shining brightly in a very dark time. Not long after he died, people started honoring Germanicus as a saint. They respected him so much for his bravery, and his story was passed down from generation to generation in the church. Today, we celebrate his feast day on January 19th. The liturgical color for his day is red, which is the color used for martyrs, reminding us of the ultimate sacrifice they made for their faith. Even though he's not one of the most famous saints, his example is especially powerful for young people. Saint Germanicus is often seen as a patron saint for youth and for anyone who is facing fear. His life proves that you don't have to be old or big or powerful to be a hero of the faith. You just need a heart full of love for God. So what can we learn from Saint Germanicus today? We might not be facing wild animals in an arena, but we all face our own kinds of fears, don't we? Sometimes it can be scary to stand up for what's right. Maybe you're afraid of what other people will think if you talk about your faith. Maybe it feels easier to just go along with the crowd even when you know it's not the right thing to do. Saint Germanicus' story teaches us that true courage comes from trusting God. He shows us that even when we feel small or scared, God gives us the strength to be brave. When we are faced with a tough choice, we can remember Germanicus. We can remember that staying loyal and true to Jesus is always the right path, no matter what. He invites us to think about what we truly believe in and what we're willing to stand for. Our faith isn't just for the easy, happy days. It's for the hard days, too. Let's think about that for a moment. Have you ever had to make a hard choice because of your faith? What scares you about standing up for what you believe in? How can you ask God to help you grow in courage, just like Saint Germanicus? And who in your life can you encourage when they're having a tough time staying strong? These are great questions to talk about with your family or friends. Saint Germanicus' story is a shining light that still burns brightly today. He reminds us that age doesn't matter when it comes to faith and courage. He was young, but his spirit was strong. He knew what he believed and he stayed true to it, no matter the cost. His life is a beautiful example of what real courage looks like: trusting Jesus, standing firm, and never ever giving up. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn about the incredible Saint Germanicus. I hope his story has inspired you to be brave and to let your own light shine brightly for Jesus. Remember, God is always with you, giving you strength for whatever you face. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more saint stories for kids. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Saint Germanicus, pray for us. Take care, everyone. Stay healthy and hungry for holiness. See you next time, and God bless you always.